Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for ASM. Now, one of my subscribers asked me to look at this because he saw it as a potential setup. I want to show you how I would analyze this just quickly without putting too much time into it, and what you can kind of look out for in these scenarios. So one thing to note is we did have a high back here back in 2021 of around, what was it at? 50 something cents, 53 cents. And none of this price history is on any of the TradingView charts I could find, but we did make a lower low here around 7.7 cents below the previous. So our counts can start from this area. So I'm going to go to the new chart and show you that. So there's a couple scenarios here. I have marked a lot of altcoins as this is the low, because you can see how close we came to invalidation, where we just didn't get enough push just to make a new low. So you can start your count from here. And that would have to be how I did it to consider this an impulse. Because as you can see, one thing I look at is, okay, if this is a 1 and a 2, then this would be our third wave. And our fourth wave, we'd look for either running flats or triangles, a sideways correction. As you can see from that high, if this is our third wave, we have not gotten that. So you can quickly look at a chart and say, where should we be? And have we gotten the reaction we're supposed to? And clearly we haven't. I pulled a fib from the low to the high. We're already at the 50, and this is clearly a single wave. It's not a three-wave move. That's why I throw on my time extensions. I pulled from the beginning of this 5-wave move off the end, and that would take us out into this area, out in May, to get a 3-wave complete. So you can see nothing hits guidelines as it's supposed to for this to be a fourth wave. So then I would consider, okay, let's look back. Does anything match up here? Because the 5 waves is either starting a new trend, right, or completing a previous correction. So this could be an ABC. In that case, we'd be making lower lows. We have an impulse to the downside. So I would consider that's a possibility. We come back, hit the 50 and the 618 of this move to the downside, and continue down for another one. So that would be the first thing I look at. The other thing I would consider is it could be the beginning of a diagonal to the upside. You can see it's very difficult to get confident on any count here. What I would suggest is, if this is bullish, the most bullish thing I could come up with, we can get rid of this pitchfork, is you would have to consider the fact that it could be a truncation. So we can start our low from here. That's the all-time low on this current coin at 797, not even a penny. And you can see we've had quite a move. If you caught that move, congratulations. That's a nice move. That was a 2,000% move. But what I would suggest now is it needs a lot of time to consolidate. And the bullish scenario here would be that this is a 1-2. It's not a fourth wave most likely because of that reasoning I showed you previously. We should hold between the 382 and the 50. Worst case in a fourth. We've already gone through that, so the count just doesn't make sense. The only way I would make sense of that is if we came up and made a running flat like this. And then I would consider, okay, maybe it is a fourth wave. Maybe it is valid, right? If we made something like this. But then you're also torn, is this a 1 and a 2 rather than a fourth? It all depends whether we got truncated here. You're not going to know until the waves pan out. But we do have a path we're considering. We know this can be a wave 1 and looking for a 2, or a third wave if we make a higher B. Now, if it's a 1 and a 2, I'd actually expect us to come back to the 618, down to around 2.6 cents. I would expect this looks like 5 waves to me, so I'd expect us to consolidate here for a while, come past, or between the 50 and the 618, even the 786, and right now most likely make a zigzag for a wave 2. And then we'd actually make sense for our time guideline. It looks better, right? It's very difficult to imagine this just goes like this after this previous price action. At which point we would pull our fibs once we get that correction to the upside, looking for threes, and pull to the 1-to-1, as you can see. So we can kind of reverse engineer this, and if we get a 1-to-1, we'd actually expect to come more to the 786 than the 618. And then the potential's there for that third wave. But you can see there's a lot of time involved here before we get anything decent. And that's why people ask sometimes, like, do you forget about a coin, you know? No, I'll just set an alarm at the 618 and I can come back to it. I can also set one just past the 618 here. Maybe there's a short opportunity for the C wave to the downside, right? In the future, but I'm not gonna be tracking this every day in the middle of a B wave correction, right? It's just a very big waste of time. Now, unless you want to be very active on this coin and scalp it all the way, because this really does look like 5 waves down, right? It looks pretty clear. The only way this would be 3 is if this is making some sort of flat, which you don't want. If this ends up making some sort of flat correction and we just continue grinding down here. Otherwise, it looks like 5, right? 3, 4, 5. But good news if you're holding that coin is you should get some recovery here soon. Up to like the 786. Did I mark that? Up between the 786 and the 618. Should get a move up there, which is still like 100% move. But currently where the market's at, I'm looking for big moves, right? I'm looking for, 5, 10Xs. So this just doesn't interest me at the moment to trade. There's absolutely a trade setup there, but I'd be more interested in the short end up here. If the setup comes to me, or if we make a higher high, again, that would be more of a flat. But I find it very difficult to believe this would have to be something more complex then. And this isn't a 5 wave, but it very much looks like a 5 wave. And even still, it's not going to get away from me. I'd be more interested in when that makes that running flat down in this area, right? So I just wanted to show you how you can just quickly look at things, throw on your time fib, throw on your area you'd expect. And if it doesn't match up, like clearly that does not look like a completed correction. So I have a feeling we're going to spend a lot of time in this range here over the next couple months. So why is it worth keeping an update on it, right? Unless you want to scalp that down on the smaller time frames. That doesn't interest me based on all the setups available currently. All right, guys, so just wanted to show you that. Hopefully you can find that educational. If anything, go out on the daily on all these coins. I do it. I have a list of like hundreds that I do this on. And I spend literally no more than 5 minutes on each one. If I don't see a nice setup, I move on to the next one. I mark off my alerts so I can come back to it in the future when it's ready for an actual trade, and move on to the next one. All right, guys, that's it for ASM. Thanks for the suggestion. It was a great little education process here, but not interested in tracking it at the moment. Maybe in the future when we get a nice clean ABC. That would be a hell of a buy right there. Be a hell of a buy in the summer. So definitely interested in the future, just not right now. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.